Meanwhile, over at the Casual Master Quest Guild Hall, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and Nick is ushered awake with odd music and creaking noises. And not just the usual creaks. Oh no. This is the creaks of festivity, not that of dilapidation or depravity. Here, the spirit of Halloween has infested into the guild, where one person seems only too happy to get ready for the special occasion.
God, I love this holiday. The one night of the year where I can be a death knight and no one bats an eye. Until they find the corpse in the morning. No one wants a death knight in the family, they said.
It's a dying profession.
They complained.
They won't be whining when I turn them to reanimated zombies. But the door to the bedchamber is grinding open into the guild hall. Nick makes his entrance as he is welcomed to the illuminated pumpkins, carved grotesquely. Candles lit through skulls and masks, and an insurmountable pile of candy dumped onto the heavy oak table. Once the center for quest getting, and now a layer of sugary loot. The elven lad was befuddled.
Tyler, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. What's with this low hum of bass drums and brass instruments? You know I'm in charge of the music.
Forgive me, my top bard.
You're only bard.
Look, I know the elves don't typically celebrate this holiday, but I wanted to remind myself the fruitful joys of Hallows Eve. Also, Halloween.
Halloween? Fuck is Halloween? A cult sacrifice? You have candles lit in a pentagram where I usually practice.
It's purely aesthetic.
Aesthetic? It's purely batshit crazy.
Look, children will be coming out in a couple of days, asking for candy and pretending to be hero classes that they're clearly not leveled or equipped for. And we give them bastards a little bar of chocolate and maybe scare some too. It'll be fun, Nick. Fun!
Is it just the kids that get to pretend?
Well, no, adults do it too. Gotta get into the spirit of Halloween and all that.
So, if I did this, I could be anything?
Anything, Nick.
You know, I always wanted to be a cleric.
A cleric?
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to get into religious nursing school, but Mom made me go into, get a BA in fine arts. Just a dream I always had.
Then on Hallows Eve, you'll be the best healing cleric on the whole block. I'll even let you cast Cure Minor Wounds on me.
Tyler, that would be magical.
In the Guild of Casual Master Quest, everything is magical.
So I guess what we should say then is, besides to not throw toilet paper at our fucking hall,
Happy
Halloween.
Oh, I guess we should. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. You know I'm not one for candy, but holy shit. Is this candy free? Are those king size chocolate bars?
Those are king size.
Gimme.
Behold, dark chocolate. Milk chocolates for sissies.
What you mean? Milk chocolate's all I eat.
Oh.
Find a spot around the fireplace, you goons. It's time for another tale of Casual Master Quest.
Aloha and welcome to another episode of Casual Master Quest. This is episode 24. I am your host for the episode, Nick. I am joined by my beautiful colleague, Tyler.
Only my mother calls me beautiful. I prefer luxurious. Yes, I mean, blood. I'm here to suck your blood. I hope you're positive. I don't need negativity in my life.
All right. This is the only podcast that will not discuss Red Dead Redemption 2. However, I feel like that's a lie. We're probably going to talk about it at some point.
I'm a very good lying vampire. We'll most certainly not talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. You look ugly today, Nick.
See, that could either be a lie or truth, and I'm not sure.
It's okay. You don't have to understand. I own a Prius and I love it.
I, for a fact, know that you don't own a Prius. If you did, I'd be very surprised.
I would be also not surprised because I got to keep up the trope. I hate Zelda. My heart. I can't take it. Oof. It was like my other me, like my soul just it kicked me in my spirit balls.
Spirit ball.
My
How you been,
balls.
Tyler?
Oh, I have been fantastic. I've been living the dream. Oh boy, I know I keep doing like, week 1 of my job. It was terrible. I died multiple times, but I keep waking up and I'm still here. I don't know what to do. But I have been getting used to the concept of being sore and then keep working. But I also remembered that one of the best ways to help combat soreness when you're constantly doing a new routine, 2 things. First one is drink lots of water. Keep yourself hydrated, because if you don't have enough water, you'll cramp up a lot faster. And you can either use creatine to help with the soreness further, or in my case, I just want straight protein because I want to build those muscles as well. Right. So I've been doing a more protein-heavy diet, where basically like every couple of every other couple of stores, I will drink a nice thing of protein.
Nice.
Shake thing with boober.
Yeah.
And it's been doing great. I've been pooping solidly, so that's fantastic. And something happened this week over at work, and it was very unfortunate.
What happened?
So the company that's in charge of leasing us our trucks, I will not name them, but they like to take the trucks and do a 60-day inspection just to make sure that everything's on the up and up with the trucks.
Right.
And so they took the truck I was using this week, and when I got it back the next day, mind you, I'm a relief driver, so this is technically not my truck, but I'm covering somebody else's truck. They had a little squishy stress ball that's been in there for a very long time, as far as I'm aware, called Mr. Ipples. It was a little happy faded ball that he treasured all the time. It was gone.
No.
And it's like, I'm the one that's responsible for this goddamn truck. I could take out a mirror, but I can't lose Mr. Ipples. And
okay, but technically you didn't lose him.
I didn't lose him. And I could tell him, I told him straight up, and it's like, why wouldn't we take it? He looks at me, knowing he's like, you sure you didn't lose him? I'm like, no, why would I lose him? I wouldn't touch the little bastard. But I felt responsible for it, even if there's nothing I could have done. That. And so I ended up ordering a 12-pack of stress balls that had emojis. And I proceeded to let him pick one, which he didn't pick one. So I picked about 6 of them for him to put them around his truck like a creepy audience now.
Right.
And try to give them to other drivers. Apparently drivers thought I was crazy using these stress balls. Say, hey, you want a stress ball? And the guy's like, what the hell is this thing? It's like, it's a stress ball. And he's like,
you stressed? Are you
why is it blowing a raspberry at me? And so I then, and I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble for this, proceeded to gift these to my stores that delivered to. But I feel like if I put one that has like a laughing emoji or something like that, it feels like I'm going to taunt him or something like that. It's like, oh, he didn't take all the empty totes, but he left me this ha-ha emoji stress ball. That son of a bitch. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. So we'll see how that's going on. It was a good purchase. I really appreciated them. And I'm doing a lot better now. I actually injured myself, and I never had this injury before where I tried pulling myself up with 3 fingers out of my 5. And I didn't put myself in a position where I could pull myself all the way up. And I started like leaning back in my truck, and I held down with my 3 fingers to get a better grip in my other hand. But I put all my weight in these 3 fingers. And I ended up pulling a muscle that ran from the top knuckle of my finger all the way down to my elbow.
Yeah, I've had that before.
I've never had that happen before. So essentially, it wasn't a big deal, except for I realized, A, that's my turn signal finger. And B, I couldn't push down the roll down my window with that finger, which I usually did. Like, I didn't realize how important this left ring finger was for me, besides, slapping on the old ball and chain ring. And so I'm recovered from that now, but like a muscle that pulls from your ring finger all the way to your elbow, like I could feel it specifically all the way down. It was just ridiculous how far of an attachment I was able to screw up just by holding on for an extra second. But that's enough about the miseries of my everyday life. What about you, Nick?
Mind you, before we move on to me, I was going to say with all your soreness and stuff, like we've talked about your job before, and it's like a big part of it is like physical labor. Yes. Usually what helps with soreness as well is stretching. So make sure you get in stretches.
There is a mandatory stretch session that we have to do in front of the boss. It's kind of like all of us will meet up in front of the boss. He'll tell us, if there's anything that's needs to be said. And then you're like, all right, I got to physically watch you fuckers stretch yourselves. And
that's good.
He doesn't really care. It's just a thing that we do right there. It's specifically stretching the hand back a little bit to help with the wrist and all that. And it does help a lot. I guess the other thing that I wanted to point out is I realized that normally as a over-the-road truck driver or a truck driver that leaves the state, I have a 70-hour limit to how much I can work total in a week. I did not realize that because I'm strictly inside the state from now on, that drops down to 60 hours a week.
Okay.
And with me doing the toughest route, I've been averaging what I can tell to be about 62 to 63 hours a week. And I didn't start to officially get myself lined up through my electronic logs to be monitored by the government until about 2 days ago. So, I could be wrong with the numbers, and if so I can fudge them the right way just to make sure that I remember everything correctly. But now instead of, I've been having to bust my ass, long story short, to like, oh, I can't take my time with this. I actually got to get moving because otherwise I'll get, illegalized. And then bad things happen. But I did good. These past few days, I proved to myself that even when I get handed a bad deal, I can still work the hand, and I can finish up before 12 hours. 12 hours times 5 days is 60. So basically I got to do under 12 hours each day, and I can do that. So I'm happy. I'm doing good. But that's my work life. I'm tossing the ball back at you again.
Okay. Yeah.
You ready? I'm gonna give you a nice curveball. Yeah. I'm gonna spit on it. Here goes the pitch. It's an overarm. Oh, he's going underarm. It's
I duck.
Oh, you duck. It goes right into somebody's grandmother, and you feel guilty.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
She should have done it too.
Let me roll for dodge. Grandma rolls a natural 1. She takes it right into the spirit balls. Oof.
Yikes.
Oof. Yeah, I know, right?
My week's been busy. Had a midterm, had a couple of deadlines this week. Shitty situation at school that I talked about a few episodes ago where we had the one teacher's assistant being a bitch, basically. She finally got fired, so there was some relief there. But then the course is very disorganized. The instructor doesn't really know what he's doing, or at least he knows what he's doing, but he doesn't want to tell us. So we have to kind of guess what he expects out of the course, which is which is like being back in high school. It's kind of like the kind of drama and politics I'm dealing with. I would have expected out of high school. I did not know I'm paying $2,400 per course to be back in high school. It's something
totally
else.
Feel you, man. Honestly, I think thankfully being a tall son of a gun, I'm only 6'4", but that's still pretty up there. Mm-hmm. And being on the swimming team and all that, I was moderately built as much as a swimmer could within reason. Right. People don't really mess with me, and if they did, other people are like, "Don't mess with him. He's T-Vitty." Right. But at the same time,
T-Vitty.
Yeah, T-Vitty, motherfucker. Anyways, like I got picked on now and then, but I was such the depressed emo kid that happened to be tough looking, even though I was a huge softie, like Majin Buu softie. Yeah. Except I can't turn into candy. That's regrettable. I didn't have to really worry about that much, and actually, I think I got the worst of the bullying from college. But it wasn't really bullying so much as like somebody showing interest in you, but immediately rejecting you if they find out like the most minute of details.
Right, yeah.
For example, and this is rough. This is actually something you may judge me for, as well as the whole world. I'm going to give it to you. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
So there was a point in time where I'm really worried because this is going to actually bring up religion. So this is me stepping into the red zone. So sounds of sirens. Red zone. Don't do this, Tyler. There was a point in time where I tried practicing Judaism. I wanted to explore my religious upbringing and try to see if there was a better suited explanation of God out there. Mm-hmm. And I tried doing this during the first year of college to see maybe Judaism is where I was seeking. And I kept this completely low key to myself. I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. I just wanted to, look up and try to find out, see if the teachings were right for me. And I meet a lady in Spanish class, Spanish 101 or something like that. Even though I had 2 years of Spanish, I had to take 101. So it's like,
because
hola.
college, yeah.
The word of the day that you learn and you got to study all week is hola. It's like, oh boy, great. Sweet. Hola. Oh, I mean, hola. Sorry, that's a C+ for me right there. And one lady took a huge interest in me and she started chatting me up and all that stuff. And it was weird to me because I'm not used to talking to other people as much as I would like to think I am nowadays.
Right.
And she's like, hey, do you want to go out and get something to drink and hang out with me? And it's like, sure. And so we went to get smoothies, and smoothies are ungodly expensive on college campuses for a guy who I had a monthly budget of like $120. Like, that's 2 games, but now I had to go down to 1 game because of this fine lady. And she hit a red flag with me immediately, a red flag question. And she's like, so, tell me about yourself. And I'm like, I told her about my...
Is that the red flag question? Tell me about yourself. Well,
I know, right? It's like, oh no. The moment she finds out of my dark path. Like, she's like, tell me about yourself. My father beat me as a child. No, I'm just...
All right, nice meeting you.
Well, the topic immediately, like, she wanted to talk about Christianity. And she was like, I'm like a deeply rooted Catholic and all that stuff. And I was like, oh... She's like, what about you? And it's like, well, I didn't want to lie to her. I was not exactly a poonhound. I was like, I'm actually trying to see if, if Judaism is the way I want to go into. And she like kind of like soured up, like imagine like a 24-hour of a lemon in the sun sped up in the course of 10 seconds, just like pruning itself. Her face just.
Right.
Oh, well, it was nice talking to you. I'll see you in Spanish class. I'm like, sure. Hang out some other time? Maybe. And it's like, ooh.
And you knew then.
Once I realized the moment I said that, and she's like, oh, that's right. Apparently Christians hate, for the most part, any other religion if they have the tolerance of a teaspoon. And unfortunately, I've realized, it's like, oh, okay. If I talk about anything that's about myself that's even remotely different than the standard norm of a democratic Republican society, I'm going to be shunned. Oh boy. Welcome to early 2000s, motherfucker. And so
that's rough experiences because that can alter the way, you interact with the world, running into people who are not open to having conversations. Not in terms of like, I'm not challenging anybody's beliefs, but it's always, how else are you going to learn if you're not willing to sit down and have a conversation about somebody about, who they are, their values, their morals, at least openly.
It's particularly weird because whenever I talked about it with friends and whatnot, about me trying to, get into the Old Testament as us, the fellow Christians would like to talk about, they're like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, why? And it's like, your nose. I'm like, what? Apparently, I got a big nose. Apparently, that's a stereotype of Jewish Hebrew people having big noses. Like, come on, you're killing me here. And I know we're a video game podcast, but
we are also people, regardless.
Yes, we do enjoy talking about ethics and whatnot, and telling about the moments that we had. I guess.
Yeah.
What is that? It's not racism. Is it stereotyping, prejudice,
biases?
Yeah, biases.
That's a stereotype. Let's say stereotypes are biases, but yeah.
Screw this. We're celebrating a pageant holiday today. This is Halloween, or at least Halloween. I guess you'd call it that. So that was our life. You want to push us on before I turn into a chatty catty again?
I'm just trying to think. So the one thing I did want to mention, and I'm really proud of myself for this, I haven't been playing a lot of video games the last few weeks because school.
Neither. Yeah.
You've been adjusting to a new work schedule, so I can understand that. For me, video games are always an escape, and an unhealthy escape in terms of me procrastinating to the point where I'd push off all my deadlines just to sit and play this one more game. And that was a couple of years ago, and even to some extent last year. But now I've gotten to the point where I've stopped running away from dealing with school or dealing with hard situations related to school. And I'm actually dealing with the work and doing the work. And I just want to say I'm really proud of myself for being able to like push aside the video games finally and actually focus on schoolwork and get to them when I have time.
Stop putting it, using it as a coping mechanism and using it as a means to enjoy yourself when the time is right, not trying to, escape. We talked about addiction before. We know how it is. You and I both. I had a similar problem with many things. Pixelmon has been my current addiction, if you want to call it that. But also, there are times where a man was like, "I want to spend time with you," and it's like, absolutely. I've learned to tell myself, like, I'll have to ask my question. This question is like, is there something more important that I should or could be doing right now than trying to build this giant death cube of a gym? It's like, oh, you could be kissing your wife and taking her out to dinner and a movie, which I did, and we went to see Venom last week. And I'm glad that I still have the ability to tell myself that versus like, I know when I have to get off to go to work. I know when I have to get off to go to sleep if I need to stop doing something. I know when it's more important to spend time with friends and family. And that is a skill that took me many years to.
It's not easy, especially when you grow up in particular environments. Anyways, we could probably go on about this.
Religion, addiction. What else? Do you want to talk about politics?
We might as well. No, I think that's the one thing we should avoid. Because, well, I could talk about politics. I'm in Canada, and people just apologize if I have a differing opinion. So we've talked about how much we're not playing as many video games. So what have you been playing, Tyler?
So what I have been playing specifically has been Pixelmon to update the world. The cube has been 100% completed. I've seen
some of your progress pictures. It looks like a gym I would be proud to battle in.
Thank you. So it's been a team effort, mostly between Brandon and I, but there is a Ninetales in there that was made up by Amanda, who wants to tear it down. She's like, it doesn't look like Ninetales. I'm like, it fucking looks like Ninetales, and it's like, it looks great. And she's like, no, there's better versions of Ninetales. Like, what? Do you want to make a pixel version of the trading card game card? And it's like, it looks great. And she's like, I'd rather put an Alolan Ninetales up. I'm like,
I'm just pulling up a picture of the Ninetales here. This is fantastic. I don't know what you're talking about.
It looks great.
It looks fantastic, yeah.
So he's having a 50-50 struggle with, and I told her, it's like, straight up, I was like, hey, you finish this wall. I don't care what you do. As long as you put your heart into it, I will give you this Keldeo that will destroy my team. And so I spent a buttload, like 5 hours worth of money to get this Keldeo for her, and it's waiting for her as soon as she finishes that. So Brandon and I have decided on two things, our teams. Brandon has been doing evolutions. He wants to have a full Eevee team, which I'm sure you'd be proud of and happy for. And he has a giant pixel art of Eevee plastering the wall, and then a bunch of colored cubes over on the side, a color for each of the evolutions. Okay. And he's building a team of 6 so he can proverbially or hypothetically destroy me, which, it's gonna be a cold day in hell when that happens.
I mean, it's possible. You can run an Umbreon, a Sylveon. You want to run Glaceon, maybe Vaporeon for sure.
I would say Sylveon, especially if I do any dragon types, being a Dratini breeder. But
beyond that, also Sylveon has better defenses,
a hell of a special attack,
and a hell of a special attack.
Not as crazy as Jolteon, but
Jolteon's subpar. Jolteon and Flareon are the only two. Jolteon's Flareon and Leafeon are subpar.
It stinks because I love Jolteon, but Jolteon's a glass cannon. It has incredible special attack and speed, but if it doesn't murder its foe in one hit, it's done for instantly.
Jolteon's more like a glass machine gun instead of a cannon.
Okay, fine.
Really, there are better electric types.
Okay, that is fair. I mean, there's some stuff better than a cannon. We're not in the revolutionary age. We can get Gatling gun is actually, to me, a step higher. So are we talking like when I say a cannon, are we talking like a cannon off the side of a battleship kind of thing, like a boom, mission complete, I'm George W. Bush, mission accomplished, baby, kind of cannon? Or are we talking like let's fight off the Brits so we can claim these 13 states as our own kind of cannon? What are we talking about?
Either one.
I'm getting into politics, whether or not you like it. I'll drag you into it. So he's building his evolution team. He has a giant Eevee plastered on the wall. Amanda has a Ninetales she's probably going to rip down so she can put on her happier-go-lucky version of a Alolan Ninetales, which I'm okay with. What's up?
I'd be okay with that too. Alolan Ninetales is by far the
pretty.
best, one of the best Pokemon designs.
Yes, absolutely. And then there's my side. I knew from the start, the moment I put a sign up that says Gym Leader Tyler, the Scizor Baron, I knew I was going to have to put a Scizor on top of that wall because I was going to have a Scizor in my team no matter what. And I was like, well, technically, there's one thing that's better than a Scizor, and that, my friends, is a Mega
two
Scizor.
Scizors.
Yeah. 2 Scizors. Actually, there's a rule where you're not allowed to use the same Pokemon twice, so it was very sad. I always had to have a team of nothing Scizors, and then somebody with any fire Pokemon would just demolish me, but that's besides the point. So I have a Pixelar of a giant Scizor with a circle in the back with it says 2XC for 2 times Tyler on the back. And then I proceeded to deck it out to make it look cool, put a game over sign in the corner and whatnot that you won't be able to see until I show that again. And then the last thing I built, and I have not taken a picture of this, is on the gym floor that I built, I now have 2 giant Scizor claws sticking out on my side, looking ominous, like I'm sitting on a battle platform with Scizor claws on each side, and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't look, ridiculous at all, but I'm all about ridiculousness. Dratini's will not sell to save my life, so I've been having to make money by finding fossil Pokemon and then immediately selling them off, like the rocket member that I am. Right. And I'm currently building a team up. No one knows about this team except the people I'm about to tell. I got 3 Pokemon that's on my team ready to go. Well, not ready to go, but I got them sized up. I got my beautiful female Scyther. I was going to do Dratini, but I'm not sure about it yet. I got a Larvitar that's ready to go because Scizor and Larvitar are actually pretty good together. And the third one I can't remember at all, so I guess I'm just screwed. It's sad because I just bought it. It might actually be Dratini. We'll see. We'll see. So as long as Scizor is on my team, I can't go wrong. Oh, and sorry, I got the Eevee for Sylveon because I want a Sylveon on my team. Nice. To show my appreciation for Brand, because I don't think he's planning on using Sylveon, so I'm going to do it myself.
He's making a mistake right there. But is Sylveon even in the game?
Yes.
Okay.
It's weird because a lot of people, like Glaceon, Leafeon, when I'm particular, like, how the hell do I evolve it? And it's like, well, there's specific biomes, like you have to go into a spot in the forest near a moss stone to evolve the Leafeon.
Right.
And then you got to find a ice rock in the snow biome. But then for Sylveon in particular, it's a bit weird because, the conditions.
Yeah, it's friendship.
Friendship up the max. You got to know a fairy type move.
Yeah.
And then you put a certain... Well, it's almost the same thing, except you got to evolve it into a flower forest biome, which is the spawning ground of Celebi.
Okay.
So it's a large forest setting with flowers where it's supposed to be the fairy biome of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to evolve it there. So I got that going on. That has been my Pixelmon thing. Brandon and I will battle one day, probably in about 2-3 weeks. We're going to duke it out, see who wins. I feel bad because technically it's Scizor, and I'm not going to have Mega Scizor ready in time, but who knows? It's technically in the overused category for, I think it's Gen 6 we're doing, which is X and Y.
Yep.
And Scizor and Sun and Moon gets put down into the underused category, so it'd be more legit in tournaments, but since we're doing X and Y right now, it's in the overuse, and it's very sad for me, but he understands I gotta have Scizor, so I'm sure he probably has like a Flareon with Flare Blitz and speed up the ass to just blow that one out of the water real quick, but we'll see about that. Meanwhile, when I do that, I've been watching a little game called Red Dead Redemption 2.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. So, have I ever told you about my feelings about Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto series?
I think very briefly. I might have, maybe.
So, I tried playing Grand Theft. I played a lot of Grand Theft Auto 1 back in the day, and it's a completely different experience, obviously. Top-down experience and all that stuff. It's kind of like a weird arcadey shooter thing. And I couldn't bring myself to want to play a Grand Theft Auto game all the way until Grand Theft Auto 5, and that was only because it was technically bought in it for me to play. But then not only was my now wife disgusted with me playing it, I felt bad about it myself, but I was also a pacifist unless violence was forced upon me. So as you and I realize, watching and playing is two different things.
Yeah.
And the person I watched play for the first time, I saw him play a more aggressive stance, and it was actually kind of upsetting. Like, I was like, holy crap.
And we're talking about Red Dead now, right?
We're talking about Red Dead Redemption specifically. Like, I won't play a Grand Theft Auto game anymore because it really challenges my moral, like, belonging, I guess. Because I feel like if I go onto a shooting spree and try to get 5 stars, I feel like a real dirtbag and all that stuff. And it's like, holy crap, video game violence is real. And Red Dead Redemption is a very similar thing. You could totally, if you want to, just shoot up anybody you want to. And there's nothing stopping you besides a bounty on the head and people shooting you back. And I know this is the Wild West. The story focuses on Arthur. He goes around trying to, figure out a storyline that's so ambiguous for me, trying to pick up the pieces. I have no idea what's going on for the most part. And it really just feels like a giant series of mini quests, and you do stuff for fun on the side. And basically what happened was, in the small moments I got to see, is Arthur running around in the Wild West. He had a bear fur he just got after teaming up with a guy called Hosea, who hunts a legendary bear. They track down a bear, shoot him down, skin him, and he is running with the fur. He meets a gold digger who's just sifting on the side of a river trying to find gold. And he's like, "Howdy there, friend. Nice seating you there." And he comes up. He doesn't say anything because you can target them and then choose to greet, antagonize, pull out your gun if you really want to. And he's like, the guy gives him a weird look after he doesn't say anything, because this game is so dependent on you like making a greeting and whatnot, or interacting at the very least, that he didn't know what to say. He's like, "Yeah, hey, you can keep on going then if you're not going to say anything." And he stood there again looking around, and the guy is like, let's see, how do I talk to him? And the guy's like, "Back off." He's like, "Oh, okay." So NPCs get really aggressive if you approach them, with a bunch of gold. And he accidentally pulls out his bow, which is, you might as well pull out a machine gun at this point, because the guy pulls out his own gun. And the player that's streaming this is like, "Oh crap, I screwed up. I didn't mean to." He tries putting away, and he gets shot at. And so he dies, comes back, and he's like, "Oh hell no, I'm not letting myself get murdered by a gold digger." Goes back, and before he even says, "Hello there, stranger," boom, right in the back of the head. I'm like, "Oh,
yep, I would have done the same."
You can technically do that. But then it was like, someone witnessed your action, and he turns around and sees some woman on a wagon, and he just pulls out his rifle and boom, blows her head off. And I'm like, "Oh my god." And then it says again, "Another witness saw your action." And so he's chasing a horse after a guy, pulls the lasso out, catches the guy, pulls him off his horse, which I thought was cool, the lasso technology. And then I believe he either stabs or just flat out shoots him. Just murders him right there for witnessing. You could tell him to...
He's dead.
You could tell him essentially, say, "Hey, don't say a thing." And whether or not you're scary or not, I guess depends whether or not they'll actually say something or not. But this guy's like, "No chances. I wonder how much gold this guy has." So he kills him and loots him, and then boom, witness saw your action. I'm like, he apparently murdered a gold digger out of cold blood along the busiest highway in the early 1800s in this area. There's people just going down the road, and he's just murdering them left and right. I think he killed about 7-8 people before one of them got away, and it just turned into this mass bounty of people wanting your head. And all because he
looked at something wrong.
He looked at somebody wrong, accidentally pulled out his bow for a second, and then wanted revenge because surely it was not his fault. But then he started saying stuff like, and he was like, I could spare all these people, but honestly, I just want, he was like, "How much gold does this guy have? I wonder." Well, I was like, holy shit, dude. I was like, you don't have to do it like this. And I'm just watching this guy murder everybody in cold blood suddenly. And it's like, it just messed with me. And it really turned how I thought about this game, but it's a Rockstar game, so I expect it to be like that.
Right.
And at the same time, I watched somebody play this game, a completely different person. He's playing it more lawful neutral, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a lot better of an enjoyment to watch, and it makes it more tempting. But at the same time, I just feel like I don't have enough time to put into this when I got Shadow of the Tomb Raider sitting at the doorstep waiting for me to sit down and actually do something together. But that's been really all for my week. What about you and your end? Because I know we've gotten. I want to give a shout out to Papa Los. He's apparently been a little excited after you talked a little bit about Breath of the Wild and kind of feeling that fire again, get that flame, that spark going.
Yeah. Again, like I said, it's been busy, so I only managed to get another hour or so in. just going around, exploring, going through, they're not tombs, what are they called? Shrines. Going through shrines.
Oh,
the
Shrine Raider.
Yeah, I'm just having fun exploring, really, for the most part. I haven't done anything crazy yet. It's honestly, I will say this again, it's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful world. The amount of power that you can get out of that little device is mind-boggling.
So a couple of questions. Have you figured out a favorite type of weapon yet?
I'm usually more the kind of like fast hitting person, so just a short sword is my thing. Okay. The axes, I like to keep a few around because I would imagine there are certain cases where you would make good use of them. But yeah, no spears, don't enjoy. Well, spears depends. Like if I find a spear in passing, I'll pick it up and use it, but I probably wouldn't hold on to more than one.
I feel like a spear kind of reminds me of my grandmother on Facebook who just wants to have a poke war with me. It's like, stop, I'm done. Grandma's poke you on Facebook. Poke. It's like, Jesus, stop, please. You're not doing all that much damage, but it looks ridiculous.
They're good for the green-blue Bokoblins because they're a little tougher at my current level, or like where, like with the kind of gear that I have, because I don't have a lot of like, I have a lot of like 20 damage weapons, like 18, 20 damage weapons, but not a lot of like
an ancient battle axe plus or something. That should be true power.
But I also don't have like gear, so like I think my highest defense is like 5 or 6 right now. So I'm just playing a little passive.
So you have you figured out any armor or whatnot that you've gotten an eye for, or you might want to get?
I haven't gone to like I know you can buy, but I don't know any of the armor sets. I haven't been going through the wikis at all. Usually I would, but I'm just having fun exploring right now.
Okay. Like, you probably would have saw some in Kakariko Village. There is the Sheikah armor, which is more stealth-based. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to look like a Sheikah from Zelda lore and all that, you got that. And I think they got your standard, like, hey, if you don't want to be stealthy, but you just want to look normal, but have some armor, they got something similar too. And then you got the, do you want to just eat hits like it's Cheerios? Come over to the Hatino Village and we'll give you soldier armor. You'll be slow as fuck and you'll fat roll like you're playing Dark Souls, but that's okay. But
yeah, so I feel like with the kind of game it is, I'll have to get a few armor sets. One for like heavy defense. I know I definitely want to get climber's gear as quick as possible for exploration.
And you probably should look up to figure out where those are because they're put into certain locations. You cannot buy those. I mean, you can, but it's like a convoluted way. Like there's a system to where if you delete or sell something that can only get one time, they'll give you a way to get it back. Okay. But it's one of those like you pay out of your ass kind of things. Right. It's not worth it.
Okay.
Just so you know, if you don't like the color you're wearing, there is a person that will dye your armor. So if you want to be the cool color red and whatnot, cool. Basically I think you need like either 5 or 10 of an item that is that color.
Color and then okay.
So if you want to dye yourself the color red, find some red flowers or some apples or whatnot, and you can. Right. He will. It's kind of like slime time from Nickelodeon. Just put the items and then whoosh, just hits you right in the face to get inked.
So yeah, beyond Zelda, some D2 and Overwatch as usual. More Overwatch than Destiny 2 this week. Okay. Because of the Halloween event that's ending soon. Yes. And I still haven't gotten the Moira skin at this point, and I really want the Moira skin. But yeah, that's really it for me. It's been slow. Hopefully, I downloaded StarCraft 2. Hopefully, I get to play some of that. It'll be my first time playing it.
StarCraft 2?
Yeah. Whew. Because it's free, so I downloaded it.
That is free. It is. It's free.
It's like really. I was telling Tyler earlier. All you have to do is give me anything free. You give me a foot massager, like a foot bath. You give me tampons. You give me a beekeeper suit. As long as it's free, I'll take it.
You did tell me that. I'm not gonna tell the world my response to that.
Yeah, no, my roommate said, why don't you try downloading? I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll try downloading it. It's free, whatever. We'll try it out. And so I might give that a go next week if I have some time. I actually have a little bit of time, so I will. I got Splatoon 2 from your friend, Nick.
Yes.
Not me. I didn't give myself Splatoon 2. Tyler's friend, Nick, sent me over a spare copy that he had, and I'm hoping to get some time to test that out too.
So I've been talking with all my friends. Anybody who listened to Casual Master Quest remembers about the Nick Switch initiative. Nick is not filthy rich here, as he would like to portray himself with his cool headphones and luxurious beard of glory and fortune.
Headphones are $30. The beard is because I'm lazy.
Explain it away. Fine. And so the original plan was to get him a Switch, but it's like, if you give him a Switch, the only thing he can play is Hulu and Fortnite. That's no good. And so, obviously he bought his own games, or he has a way to get his own games, such as Breath of the Wild in this case. But there's a couple of games where, one cannot simply just throw away money when you're in a budgeting time and find out that a game is bad. So I talked with some people. One of them turned out to be my best friend, Nick. Thank you, Nick, Mr. Truax.
Yeah, no, thank you. Really appreciate it.
And Nick took it upon himself. He's like, "Hey, I got 2 copies of Splatoon because I'm an idiot. I can only say that because I'm a best friend, because he's being generous." And he gave it to you. And I'm hoping to try to convince you to play Splatoon sometime very soon, and see if you like it, if that's your thing. If not, it's a great game to drink and play and scream that I'm Chris Gaines, bitch, because apparently that's the last thing I remember doing with Splatoon. Just murdering people, getting a double kill, saying Chris Gaines, bitch.
All right, so we have a bit of newsy week, the newsy episode for you guys, but we all in good reason. Our first news item is about Pokemon, and anybody who remembers any of the older episodes from season 1 would remember how long our proverbial Pokemon Go minutes would last. We can talk about Pokemon all day.
All day, oh yeah.
And so we have to control ourselves. And so this week we have some news that really made me upset.
I mean, right now, I know you just say you're very upset about what you're about to say, and I'm about to counter. We do technically have the proverbial Pixelmon minute at this point.
Oh yeah, no, but like, you're more of a gamer that goes through phases with games. So like for me,
I'll burn out in 2 weeks. Once I destroy Brandon, I'll be free of this curse.
Yeah. So recently Niantic announced a new Pokemon in Pokemon Go. A little blob with a screw nut.
Announcing it is a tough way of saying accidentally leaked, and when people try to catch it, it turned into dittos and whatnot, because that's a hell of a way of saying announcing.
I'm trying to be nice for the most part because I'm not the happiest. So they announced, quote unquote, Meltan, a what is it, a steel electric type?
I could not tell you. I have not checked anything about Meltan besides the fact that it exists and there's a lot of them, and Professor Willow is really freaked out by them.
It is a pure steel type Pokemon, and earlier, a couple of days ago, they announced a evolution for Meltan, Melmetal.
Yes, and it looks kind of like a mix between a Registeel.
I was thinking the same thing, like a Registeel and a Regigigas.
Like Melmetal has big daddy energy right here. Like he is a big papa.
I'm gonna correct you there. It is big dick energy.
Okay, big daddy dick energy. Then I will
okay,
combine our efforts.
That's a bit incestuous. Let's not call it that.
Okay, well, Pokemon is family if you have it, and so if you have a Pokemon that has a giant dick, this turns into like Emily and Clifford the Big Red Dog situation. I don't want to, go around that territory. That's just scary, man. So I could say Big Daddy energy. You can say Big Dick energy. We talked about furries, and so I don't want to shame them or shame you. But if that's your prerogative, go right ahead. I'm a family functioning person. Okay. So, Big Daddy energy.
So, essentially, you catch Meltan in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Mm-hmm. And then you send it to the Switch, to Pokemon Go, sorry. You link it up. And then it needs 400 candies to evolve into Melmetal, which you can then send back to Pokemon Switch, to the Switch games. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
400 candies.
400 candies, so it's on par with a Gyarados and a Swablu, I believe, like an Altaria.
A Swablu, a Wailmer. This is like super high level.
So what?
People are talking about this in a freaking like a mythical Pokemon, but if it's
it evolves. It evolves. Forget the lore, forget the technical specific, forget all of that. What bothers me the most is that we have Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee that are not new generation Pokemon. They are in terms of technology to some extent. I believe they can do a lot better, but it's not Generation 8. I do understand that a lot of the times, certain like Victini was announced and stuff, but was never actually available until the games came out. And here we have a new generation, like a Generation 8 Pokemon being available on Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee. And then you have to link it up to Pokemon Go to actually play it. Game Freak, Niantic, and Pokemon Company are still pandering to the casual audience.
If you're a true Pokemon player, you won't evolve.
That don't actually, they don't give a shit. I hate to say it, but they don't give a shit. How many people I've played Pokemon Go with, they're like, oh, that red one, oh, the dragon one. I'm like, you bitch. It's not the red. It's not just the red one. It's not just, they have names. Like, I haven't put 10 years of my life into getting all 806 Pokemon. I can't get 807 because Zeraora is still not available outside of an event. And then now there's 808 confirmed, apparently. 809.
So this is currently, as far as we are aware of, this is the only Gen 8 Pokemon in existence. And it's going to be in a game that's hypothetically not a core RPG Pokemon game.
Yeah, they haven't confirmed anything about it being a Gen 8 Pokemon, but I would imagine...
Call it a Gen 7 at this point?
I would call it garbage, because it shouldn't have been announced like this.
Ooh,
it shouldn't be in games
garbage,
like
big dick energy, huh? Ooh,
the design-wise, if I'm being honest, it looks like it's part of Generation 5.
Oh.
No.
You will not call my father that. You will not call my father Gen 5.
No, but I am
Wait,
upset.
Gen 5 black and white?
Yeah.
You take that back, mister.
The games were fantastic to play, but then the Pokemon designs were a little bit questionable during that generation.
Just something.
Yeah. You had Trubbish. Like actually there was a Pokemon called Trubbish. Yeah,
but your main antagonist was N, who I don't even think he knew what he wanted. I don't even think the person that designed N knew what he wanted. I don't even think the person who paid the developer that made N knew what he wanted.
I don't think the voice actor knew what they wanted for the character.
Masuda is like, I need someone, and he was like, we got characters. We can start from Plan A to Plan Z, and they got the Plan N. And it's like, just do whatever. Just whatever. Just put a character. You know,
this was the most. This is when they went through their Kojima phase, and they're like,
Kojima phase. A Kojima phase with a budget of like 10 grand.
But yeah, no, it just like I understand. I can.
Is N Kojima?
I don't like it. No, it's his. Is
that his
maybe.
nobody from Kingdom Hearts?
Maybe. Like I've always. I've been vocal about my dislike for Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee purely because they're not core RPG games and they're pandering too much to a casual audience. But it's important to bring in new kinds of audiences and expand Pokemon to like a new kind of audience. What bothers me the most is the mechanic of catching Pokemon. That's essentially the same as Pokemon Go, which I do not agree with. Like, I hate the fact that that's a thing. They're not... The Pokemon Go is not Pokemon. It's not a Pokemon game.
Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu / Let's Go Eevee is not going to get me back into playing Pokemon Go again. It's just simply not. I am pretty stubborn on these kind of things, where unless it has like a clear competitive advantage, honestly, I have not heard a friend or another person saying that they're going to get Pokemon Let's Go Eevee or Pikachu at this point. And I'm not going to fall for the Mario Tennis Aces mistake again, where I'm going to buy a game, realize that the only person that's going to make it entertaining with me, and then realize that by myself that this game is not going to fully function the way I want it to without having to make some serious caveat decisions here. And that includes playing Pokemon Go again. Pokemon Go is a great game, and I support those that are still playing it. But after a while, I fall into the same rut to where it's like, oh, I got to do the same thing over and over again. What's the point of this? And my original point was to level up, and now that I'm like level 34, 35, it's like, this is going to take forever. I don't want to spend weeks upon weeks, and they're sure in hell not going to get more money out of me, bastards. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, and you can argue that like the core RPG games also, to some extent, or you do the same thing over and over again, and sure, but at least it's a lot more dynamic than Pokemon Go is. Like, you actually have to be careful about what moves you use. You have to like plan your battles accordingly. Like, there's a lot of strategy that goes into these games outside of as compared to Pokemon Go, where it's just like, all right, just keep tap 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 tap. Oh, special moves available. Tap that once or 3 times depending on the kind of move it is. Tap 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 tap. Swipe to try and dodge, and that's it. That's all Pokemon Go is.
My main motivation for playing Pokemon Go so much was the special monthly events and all that stuff, and the whole legendary raid situation with particularly the birds. And I mean, the main difference for me is a good Pokemon game that's I'm going to play on the 3DS or whatnot is a game that I'll put 60 to 80 hours in. Pokemon Go is like it's like a 300 to 400 hour kind of game that does not have enough content to keep up with itself. But we've known that since like 3 months.
No, we've always known that. It was always fun to a certain extent in certain aspects. But I just hate the fact that you have to to get the full experience out of a Let's Go game, you have to involve Pokemon Go.
Game on Nintendo Switch and then try to force yourself to play Pokemon Go again.
That, and they're announcing new things for Pokemon Go that should rightfully be announced next year and only be in next year's games. That's they don't realize that we are their audience, or maybe they realize and they don't care. But as long as you make a game that caters mostly to us, the people that grew up on Pokemon, they'll sell out so quick.
So what happens if Masuda is trying to turn this into a test case? So when the core game comes out for Pokemon next year or whenever, that they're going to develop their own phone app, not as incredibly intact as Pokemon Go, but say a egg hatchery app or something like that, where you can hatch Pokemon while you're actually walking around or something like that. Is anything like that? This is pure speculation. I'm just pulling on my ass. What kind of app could Masuda do or make to make the next game just as exciting? I'm trying to sidestep away from the trash fire that is this talk right now. Sorry.
I mean, we've seen something similar to that anyways in the Pokewalker, I think it was called.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, something like that I wouldn't mind as long as it kept the core gameplay intact. As long as I can go out, actually battle wild Pokemon to capture them, and train my Pokemon, gain experience by battling wild Pokemon, not by spinning a ball in a circle. No, I'm not talking about my phone. I'm saying
on your Switch.
I'm on the Switch, whatever device it comes out on. It can come out on a fucking microwave for all I care.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say a 3DS. Is like, you don't say those words.
Oh no, I'm sorry, not no. I mean a PS Vita.
It stinks because, and I am very unhappy to admit this. The Vita is currently on the wall because I know I don't want to play another game on it ever again. But then I tell myself, it's like, Tyler, you should put 3DS on the wall. Much as I hate it, I can't put the sucker on the wall because I can't take that risk. There's going to be a game where I'm going to want to play on the 3DS again, or there's going to be that one last game that comes out. I've been thinking about Luigi's Mansion, and that messes with me, but I've been staying strong.
Yeah. But despite everything I've said, if anybody's actually excited for these games, by all means, buy them, play them, have fun with them. I'm just not happy with the way it appears that they're treating the hardcore fans, the long-term fans, because they haven't said anything about the core RPG games coming out next year, except for the fact that it's coming out next year. And I'm not asking for leaks. I'm not asking for new Pokemon to be confirmed. I would just like to know what's happening with the development process. Because it has been quite a while.
I mean, when it comes to the a single brand, in this case Pokemon, I'm sorry to say this, it's a smart move to not try to detract any attention away from the game that's coming out in within a month versus the game that's going to be coming out in about 6 months or whenever it's going to come out. So you're telling me you're trying to build hype over a game that needs to come out and get the sales revenue first. I mean, that's splitting attention between the same property. They can't do that. I would love it, but it is a business thing as well, so I can see that. I'm trying to think of any various examples, and if anybody wants to give me an example, a game where they're developing 2 products of the same title, but they one's further along. I mean,
I can't tell you about a company doing 2 products. I can tell you about how Titanfall 2 was given a release date, and then EA decided to release a game really close. And this is all speculation, mind you. I'm not saying they did it on purpose. Oh boy, the
Cam Collects theory, great.
But EA put out Battlefield 1, I believe it was, as really close to Titanfall 2's release date to tank the stock price of Respawn Entertainment so that they could buy them out and then stop them from making good games, because that's what EA does.
That would
tell me that seems impossible. Tell me it's impossible.
I could tell you that, but then I would have to get back into my lying Dracula voice again. EA would never do something like that.
So that's our Pokemon talk for that part of the episode. It's not something I'm particularly happy about, but it is an opinion regardless. This next topic I'm a little excited for. Because I really am, because this is essentially the evolving landscape of video games right now. Tyler, how familiar are you with esport organizations? Just in general.
I do recognize a lot of names, especially one that's in this title in regards to when I watch my League of Legends tournaments. So,
Right.
When I think of Evil Geniuses or Team Solomid or whatnot, I realize that it's not just one game that they focus on. It's a group of people that focus on multiple games and their video game organizations, frat houses, whatever the hell you want to talk. Which one are you thinking about specifically, though?
So I'm going to get to that in a bit, but esport organizations is something I'd always been out of the loop for, except for the last year and a half or so, when I started learning more about, one of my favorite streamers became a part of the TSM stream team earlier this year. And then I'm like, these guys are a team. I didn't know about it. And then I learned that they were a long team, like a long running, like they've been around for a while. Then I started learning about, Liquid, Luminosity, C9, and a lot of the Samsung teams and out of South Korea for League of Legends and Dota, I believe.
Oh yeah, the Samsung Galaxy 8 team. They were out for a couple months, and all of a sudden they just started blowing up. It was great.
Yeah,
that's a bad phone joke about their brain blowing up. Anyways.
And then I got a little bit more involved because of Overwatch League, and they're not exactly teams per se, not esports organizations, but then it sort of just helped solidify. I'm not saying solidify the idea of these kinds of teams existing, because I am a sports person to some extent, so I know what it can be like. But it's just
sportsy type. No,
not to play, to watch. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say
I used to play rugby though, mind you.
Really? No wonder why you're such an aggressive player. I like you. You got funk in your step as you nut shut somebody with that pole thing.
So here. And this whole topic revolves around. This whole topic revolves around 100 Thieves bringing on Drake and Scott Brown, I think his name was, as key investors and strategic advisors. Scooter Braun. I apologize, Mr. Braun.
No, you're gonna say Scott Brown.
Close enough. I would argue that was close enough. And so this is an interesting thing. It's a very important step for the world of gaming. So very much like the Ninja and Drake stream that happened earlier this year. Yes,
I do want to point out that you know what? It would be great if Scott Brown was actually a participant in this idea. Scott Brown is currently the the United States ambassador to New Zealand. So Scott Phillip Brown, he was a great, or he still is a great American attorney, diplomat, and a Republican politician. See, I'm getting the politics back in. Whether or not this is your own doing, okay?
This is my fault here.
You leave Scott Brown alone. He does not go. Actually, he does go international if he's an ambassador.
So, yes, very much like the Ninja Drake Twitch stream that happened earlier this year, that broke 600,000 concurrent viewers on a Thursday night at 11 p.m. Pacific, like 12 a.m. Pacific. So that was a Friday early morning. It's introducing the world of gaming to a whole new like our niche community to a larger audience, because there's still a lot of people that don't know that Twitch exists. I run into quite a few people, not regularly, but every now and then when I'm like, "Oh, have you heard of Twitch?" They're like, "No, I haven't." But this is me rambling on a little bit. Tyler, what do you think of all of this?
So I am not, and this is secret in the basement. My grandmother nerd me talking. I'm not a big fan of the idea that it takes a large multimedia giant to bring attention to video games, because honestly, I feel like doing that is good technically for the video game companies, because that means more widespread attention, means the possibility of being able to sell more consoles and all. They're like, overall, it gets bigger and bigger in the end. For somebody, I don't know who. It might just be strictly PC or Nvidia, selling their video cards and whatnot. Say, hey, Drake supports the team that we sponsor, or something like that. But it is a step forward. There are people. It just feels like such a small thing that a single person has to do is, show up at an organization and say, hey, I want to support you, just the right talk. And it's kind of dumbfounding that it hasn't really gotten like this before, because I feel like any celebrity with any kind of notoriety internationally could just pick one thing about video games that would just blow it up. And it's interesting that Drake specifically is the person that's going to make that giant step. And I'm sure there's been other historical moments. Like for me, the biggest one that made that big jump for me would be Robin Williams. Robin Williams was a notorious Zelda fan, and so much that he named his daughter after Zelda.
Right.
And, I was like, oh, Robin Williams is making that big step. But whether or not I want to admit this or not, Drake may or may not be a more well-known figure than Robin Williams in the entire world. And,
at least for this current generation. I think the issue there is, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, if you think about a bunch of things, and the only examples that I can come up with are bands. So if you have a band that you know and love, and they're fantastic, but nobody really knows about them until they get picked up to open up for, like, Metallica, right? Or Queen, right, while they were still touring. And now all of a sudden, you know about this band and you have to tell everybody, and they gain all this newfound popularity because they happen to have somebody else, quote unquote, bigger than them, sort of like shine light on their corner of, their world. And so it's not, I understand you raise that point mainly because we'd like to see gaming sort of stand out in its own and not necessarily need somebody else to sort of boost us up into the limelight. But I think it's been happening more over the past year and a half with the popularity of Fortnite, that now people are taking gaming as a career seriously.
It's just weird because Tyler, aka Ninja specifically, he was a strong pioneer of bringing the attention of a game like Fortnite into, people that wouldn't see it as eyes. Like, he was in fucking gas station TVs, for God's sake. Right. But the problem with that, and this is what bugs me, is who pushed Tyler to get such notoriety? Somebody that wasn't directly associated or got his fame through video game business, aka Drake. Once again, it's like
disagree.
Drake.
Actually, I will disagree with you there.
Go ahead, challenge me.
That just happened to boost his popularity even further. But before Drake, he was already hitting 60, 70,000 people. He just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And the collaboration with Drake opened the Twitch as a platform to a few more, to like a new market. But here we have 100 Thieves as a gaming organization, but they're also a lifestyle like brand. And you have all these different people that have signed on to them, people who are part of their competitive team, but also their streaming team that's now being where the world of esports is being like more lights being shone on it because of this one deal.
I mean, what the hell is next then? Cloud9 gets Lady Gaga? Like, does Psy from from Gangnam Style, it says whoop 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 whoop, sang some Galaxy team or something like that? It's like, how far does this rabbit hole goes? Like, who? When the biggest team, I don't know what the biggest team is. It might be 100 Thieves. I think it might be Team Solo Mid personally, but what do I know? Like, what is the biggest poll that they could get that could get the biggest amount of attention, do you think? Who is the biggest worldwide celebrity?
Currently?
I would say freaking Vladimir Putin at this point, since
Elon Musk?
Oh boy. Space travel, marijuana, and Team Solo Mid. Oh man, I feel like he doesn't have to join the team or do any sponsoring.
He just has to endure like one tweet that sort of like, hey, I like these guys.
Man, these green buds are busting. By the way, check out Team Solo Mid. Boom. Just follow. He'd be like, follow the money, follow the rabbit hole. People start clicking on Team Solo Mid like crazy. Team Solo Mid, they start leading to esports, and all of a sudden, like, flooding would just come crazy, and like they'd be messaging freaking 100 Thieves saying, where's my interstellar space travel program? Like, we're actually an esports team.
Talking about all of this though, I do feel like it's only appropriate to give credit to the founder of 100 Thieves. He goes by Hug, I guess. He goes by Nadeshot online, and I'll just stick with that because I'm a little bit more comfortable pronouncing that.
That's okay.
He started an organization essentially from nothing, and to get to this point where he's able to bring forward, the world of esports with the world of entertainment, and hopefully with this newfound platform that esports is entering into, we're able to show that gaming can do good. Much like as I was tooting my own horn early in the first 15 episodes of this show, but like GuardianCon is trying to do, that gamers, when done, like with anything else, any other profession in this world, as long as you are working towards the right thing, you can do so much good in the world. And so I'm just hopeful that that's what it means, that gaming becomes a viable thing and no longer this vile, horrific thing that like neck beards do in their mom's basement,
Talking about me, huh? Specifically, and I want to give Mr. Nadeshot his most direct report about this. And thank you, Esports Insider, for this article. He says very specifically here, it's been exciting to watch esports because of a cultural phenomenon in 2008. I spent my 10-year career in esports growing the ecosystem, and I'm proud to have Drake and Scooter join as my partners, not sponsors, partners, to help take 100 Thieves to new heights. Our top priority is to win world championships, but our ambitions go far beyond competitive gaming. And he continues, with Drake and Scooter's support, we're going to build a lasting brand on the back of the content and apparel that our fans have come to love, aggressively expand it to more games, scale our apparel business, aka $100 t-shirts, and build a world-class management team. And that is interesting. Scooter Braun also comments and says, with Matt's experience, talent, and vision as a professional gamer, he and his team has built one of the most authentic brands in the ever-evolving gaming space. We are honored to join the 100 Thieves family. Family, oh boy. Not big dick, big family. During this exciting phase of their professional journey. I personally could not have been more thrilled for 100 Thieves. This is just the beginning. That is what the top dog of 100 Thieves, as well as the one, now partners.
One of the partners.
Yes. It's weird. I actually don't see any comments directly from Drake, but I guess Drake is going to be better than that.
It says that they were brought on as strategic advisors, and Scooter Braun is actually going to join the board.
So the board of directors, I want to understand what like the CEO conference room is. Is that like a very large folding chair or a folding table with a bunch of gaming chairs from different sponsors?
And like a card, like a Yu-Gi-Oh card mat place.
Oh boy.
I'm sure that's how
cards everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how it started. We're done, by the way. They're gonna hear this and they're gonna like, all right, you guys, we're gonna
shut us down. Okay.
Yeah. No, like again, long term, I'm excited to see the kind of exposure this gets, because when you have people like Ninja who talk about where they started and what their like how they became successful, but despite saying all of that you can have streaming as a career, their message is still, if you want to stream, don't drop out of school, don't quit your job, work at it first, grind it out a little bit, and then if it becomes viable, go forward with it. When they're telling kids that you can do what you want in your life, but be smart about it. That's what I think is important, because you don't see a lot of people do that you don't see a lot of public figures do that even.
And I should give Drake more credit than I have been giving him. Specifically, he is good at what he does. Like him and the people that he works and have connections with, he obviously is god awful famous for, his abilities. And it was good on 100 Thieves to be able to secure something like that kind of relationship. Because honestly, personally, if I were to do, try to get my own sponsors, I'd have like freaking Grant Kirkhope and Jim Cummings. For those who don't know, Grant Kirkhope is a British video game music composer for games like Banjo-Kazooie and Ukulele. And then Jim Cummings is the voice of Pete from Goof Troop and whatnot, or Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. Like, that would be my sponsorship team, and then things would just burn down to the ground. I would have some great theme song music and a hell of a good voice. but it would burn down to the ground. No bad credit going to Grant Kirkhope or Jim Cummins because you guys are the favorite and you're very famous. And please at me. Beyond that, though, no, I think that's all I got to think about to say on the subject.
Yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that part. That part this week. I thought it was important to include some more like industry altering information every now and then.
Jim Cummings should have had his hand in the Winnie Pooh honey pot, but looks like it's gonna be Drake this. We talked about this a few episodes ago during our interim in between seasons. We don't necessarily like talking about video game news, but this is too big to ignore. So moving on, we're going to move on to the game releases. We've got a few. It's a quiet week coming up. We've got quiet week. I see what you did there.
I didn't even realize I did that. We've got Call of Cthulhu coming up.
But wait, what?
Cthulhu. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I'm just going to go with it. CT.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh at you, but I'm going to bore you with this with my nerdy D&D speak. It's called Call of Cthulhu.
Cthulhu?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
No, I'm sorry for laughing because
no, that's fine.
I'm used to hanging out with my nerdy friends in the corner would be like sneaking like he said Cthulhu.
So Cthulhu?
Cthulhu.
Okay.
You can just say Thulu, but then you got a cough at the beginning. Cthulhu.
Okay. Cthulhu. Coming out October 30th on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And then we've got The Quiet Man.
Ooh, wow.
It is November 1st, PS4 and PC. We have not, as far as I know, we have not seen anything about The Quiet Man except for what we saw at E3.
People are getting. I've listened to other video game podcasts talking about this, where people had very strong mixed feelings about it when they first saw it at E3, but still, nonetheless, have been getting heavily hyped over it. So I don't know what to think about that.
I especially don't know what to think about it because there's really not much information about it. Like we don't really know what's coming out, which is refreshing, if I'm being honest, because
says nowadays the one that wants to claw at Masuda's throat for Pokemon details, but it's like
all I want is just like confirmation that they're actively working on it. Like I just want some dev like, hey guys, by the way, we didn't forget about this game that we said we would release next year.
Man, you're gonna get like on the blacklist for the Nintendo America headquarters. Like, ooh, Nicola's he's within 100 miles, so we got a lockdown. He wants to know more information about Pokemon.
Yeah, so it's refreshing though on the other hand, because like with movies and with video games, trailers come out before the games or movies are out, and you just know pretty much everything. And so not knowing something about a video game is nice, but it's also scary because we don't know anything. We do know it's like a CGI live action animated fighting game.
It is weird that it's coming out on a Thursday. Do you think for a game that's been as heavily speculated or talked about as this would be either a Tuesday or, since it's more America-focused, a Friday release? But it's not. It's coming out on a Thursday.
Which is I do find strange for a video game.
Maybe they're trying to watch out for the big two titles that is coming out the next day on Friday.
So on Friday, so November 2nd, we've got Diablo 3, The Eternal Collection, coming out on the Switch. Announced a little while ago. I've never played a Diablo game. I don't think I will be playing this. If I had to spend money to buy a Switch game, I'd probably be putting it towards Octopath or buying my own copy of Breath of the Wild.
That's totally respectable. I mean, Diablo 3 to me was my personal first experience of a heavy loot simulator beyond World of Warcraft. I mean, if you took away a Guardian's gun and just gave him nothing but strictly swords or other melee weapons, gave him a top-down perspective, that would be Destiny forced into, Diablo 3 at that point.
Right.
It's.
I've heard horror stories about, not quote unquote horror stories, about how much time people have spent in this game.
Oh yes.
Then moving on, this is a game that I've always been. This is a series I've always been wanting to try, but never actually got around to it. And I'm sorry for North American listeners. Football Manager 2019. Now hold on, calm down. By football, they're talking about soccer. They mean soccer, but But in Europe, it's known as football. Like the rest of the world, it's known as football. Rugby. But for you North American listeners, it's soccer. So Soccer Manager 2019 comes out November 2nd as well on the PC.
In heaven, not to bring religion into this, soccer up there is actually called Spirit Ball. I'm keeping that joke. It's not even a running joke. It's like a running joke, except
it's not funny.
It doesn't have legs.
All right, so this is a segment that
it's too funny.
Tyler wanted to do at the start of the season. I've really enjoyed it so far. So this day in gaming, and the date is, I will tell you exactly the date. It is the 29th.
Yep.
29th of October. We've got a few games. We've got Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag that came out 2013 on the 360, PS3, PS Vita, and the Wii U.
So 5 years ago, this actually, people, I was going to say a lot of people talked bad about the third one, but Black Flag actually was a more well-received one. 5 years ago it came out.
Yeah, so the third one was it was just boring. Like, it was mind you, after the first one, every Assassin's Creed game felt pretty much repetitive, but like Black Flag added naval combat and naval exploration, and that was fun. That was the last Assassin's Creed game that I played and had fun with. And yeah, it was just a good time. I got it in my 360. I enjoy like driving a ship around, shooting it, and I'm pretty sure that Skull and Bones gameplay is based off Black Flag gameplay. From everything we've seen, it looks essentially the same.
And Sea of Thieves, but not as much. But
not as much, because with Sea of Thieves, it's you've got up to four people controlling one ship, whereas in Skull and Bones and Black Flag, you control the whole ship yourself.
That is true, yes. Which is probably for the better. I'm not gonna having four people independent. Like if I was like a True Blue sailor with three other True Blue sailors, it would be a better experience. But it's like having one person pull up the anchor, three people pulling up the sail. And it's like, wait, who has the steer? And just ram right into a rock. It's like, who was actually steering?
Especially when you get alcohol involved, Sea of Thieves gets fun.
Oh yeah, it's actually hilarious.
Yeah. Next game,
October 29th. This is a date to have these three big titles. You got Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Yes.
And then
we've got a game that some people would understand the significance of. For me, Bayonetta came out, and this is actually the Japanese release too. So this is the true release.
Ooh.
So this day, 29th of October in 2009, on the 360 and the PS3, Bayonetta, the first Bayonetta, came out. A couple of months ago, maybe 2 months ago now, a month and a half. I don't know, 2 months ago, I did my first playthrough of Bayonetta, and I had fun with it, but I would never play it again, because the end it wasn't awful, but it was it was long. It was the longest end to a game I've ever played, because it doesn't end when it ends. It ends when the game tells you it's gonna end.
That is also very true, and I totally respect that. Also, I didn't know it came out for the Xbox 360 back in the day. I thought it was PS3 only, and then it came over. The second one came out for the Wii U, so that is actually a surprise for me. That came out for the 360.
Mind you, this is a Japanese release, so I don't know whether there was an issue releasing it in the rest of the world on the 360.
Are you trying to suggest that, in your hypothetical sense here, that the English version could not get over to Microsoft?
I don't know.
Oh. Is this Nick that's befuddled and anxious because he doesn't know the certainty of this? No, I'm pretty sure it came out to the 360. Yeah. And then 14 years ago.
14 years ago, this is a game that I actually have not played, but it is significant to me. So October 29, 2004, my bad. GTA San Andreas came out on the PlayStation 2. Now, we've already touched on Grand Theft Auto on your side.
Yeah, how much I love these game series. San Andreas, PS2.
Yeah.
It's not that I haven't seen it, because I've seen plenty of play of it. I just not my thing, but it was a big game at the time. Ooh,
it was a massive game at the time. So, growing up in the Middle East, fairly to a large extent compared to other parts of the Middle East, fairly liberal. This is when they started realizing that video games can contain, sexual references, nudity, drugs, alcohol. There were plenty of video games in that time that did essentially worked around the same themes.
Yeah, but not concentrated on one cesspool.
Not concentrated in one cesspool, and not as popular.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true.
And so the game was actually banned from the country for a large period of time. And whenever we'd ask, because my friends were getting it and I wanted it because I'd never played a GTA game before, we'd go into a store, we'd ask them, all right, do you have this game? They'd be like, shh, we can't talk about it. It's kind of like, it's been banned. This game's not allowed in the country.
I just remembered it was with this game that there was a huge controversy called the hot coffee mod.
The hot coffee mod.
Have you heard of that?
Maybe not by name, but I might know.
It was taken out by the game later in developers, or rather making it inaccessible, but people were able to get into it with a mod. They call it the hot coffee mod. It was a huge scandal afterwards because in order to keep the maturity rating instead of the adult 18 plus rating, right, they had to take out the side mission where you get hot coffee with somebody and you proceed to have a mini game having sex. And as you can guess, they didn't want to have that get bumped to 18 plus, so they cut that cord. But they left the entire whole damn thing in the game.
It just wasn't connected, so people were able to glitch their way into it.
So just all it took was one Game Shark code to clip through a wall to trigger the cutscene, and all of a sudden, bam, you're banging some woman with pyramid boobies, and ESRB just like flipped their lid.
Right.
Like, this was probably the biggest thing in that decade in terms of perversion like that.
Right.
Maybe, I don't remember when the Ellen Page incident with the shower scene happened, but I feel like that was a little bit in this decade. But 2010, probably one of the biggest deals back then.
Right. So, yeah, because we couldn't get the game. I couldn't get the game particularly. I was, even at that age, 2004, I would have been, 9? Even then, I was not vehemently, but strongly against buying pirated games for my PS2. So I never did the whole shebang where I'm like, you get...
You're a strong pure heart.
you get the different optical reader and you can just buy cheap video games. And so that's how my friends played it. I refused to do that, so I never played it. And that's when my interest for GTA games just died. And so I've never actually played a GTA game. But yeah, no, that's it. That's it for this day in gaming.
Hey, those are 3 big titles right there, though. Assassin's Creed 4, Bayonetta, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Like I said, the 29th of October. I don't know why. It felt like there should be more, but I guess the more bigger notable titles are going to be next month. That is like...
Because it's coming up with the holiday season? Is that way? Yeah, so probably... Oh, so we're going to... I'm excited then for this day in gaming. We're going to see quite a few... We should be seeing quite a few titles over the next few weeks.
Let's see. I'm wondering if there's a way that I can look up at November. The dates that we'll get the pick is the 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. The 19th and 26th, I haven't checked yet. But obviously it's going to be a little bit different because, it's not always that date and Monday for, each year. But like between the 18th and the 30th, big names are going to pop up. So I'm hoping that we'll get lucky and we'll strike gold on being at the right date at the right time. So we'll see.
Right. So that was it for this week.
Yes.
Tyler, where can people find you?
So my stream schedule is still on hiatus, but eventually I'll start trying to push myself into it again. Unfortunately, basically I was supposed to do 7 weeks of training, but right now I'm doing the 3rd week straight covering somebody's shift because they're covering somebody else's shift I haven't been trained for yet. And so until that gets resolved, I cannot really stream with any kind of a sanity. And however, you can check me on twitch.tv/2timestyler, all one word, all letters. And more importantly, if you want to check out the things and bullcrap I say, and if you want to keep updated with my forbidden gym on Pixelmon, which is technically a Pixel Spark generation server that you can find at Technic Launcher, if you ever want to make the jump. You can find me on Twitter at 2timestyler. What about you, though, Nick? Where can we find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/LRWarrior11, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at LRWarrior11. Stream-wise, I've been trying to do at least 2 streams a week, down from 4 to 2 because school's been getting rough, and like with playing video games leisurely, stream will have to suffer because school is the priority. But yeah, no, I mean, Instagram I post once every 2 weeks because I completely forget about Instagram for the most part. And it's getting to the point. It's getting to the point where I'm following a lot of cosplayers, and so I can't really open my Instagram in public lest I get judgmental normie eyes for my weeb preferences.
Oh no, those other people in the corner of the geeks that let you for Cthulhu, they hush you for those things too. Oh
no. You can find news and random and general engagement tweets through the Casual Master Quest Twitter at MasterQuestPod. You can also email us with any questions, with any suggestions, with just say hi, because we like that. We're people too. At our email is casualmasterquest@gmail.com.
Let's say, don't keep us in suspense. Don't cuck us. Jeez. Also, I want to point out, Master Quest Pod has actually been getting more people than I'd like, because I want those people to go to me specifically, but I guess the podcast is more important. But it's like, wow, people are actually starting to like this page live. Man, what's going on here? Which I shouldn't complain. I really do appreciate that. So the people that are listening to the show, especially our OG fans, I want to give out shout out to our OGs, show you some love. Calo, Los Papos, or sorry, not Los Papos, Papalos. Yeah, I mean, be Los Papos, whatever you want at this point. And of course, many, many more. Go ahead and give us a shout out. The moment you do at Master Quest Pod, yes, that you do that, you type something, Nick gets all giddy, and I twirl in my seat, even though my seat's fixed in place. Like I got wooden legs for this chair. I will still twirl in my seat. Like there's a giant circle in the carpeting of faded carpentry because whenever somebody tweets us or at us, it's very exciting.
Yeah, because we do this because we enjoy it, but also having people engage with us and enjoy the content we put out keeps us going, keeps us happy. So thank you.
There are 2 people in this world that I do this for. 3. Because I want to cut myself. First one is because I get to talk with Nick here, and it's a real fucking blast. Secondly is that one, and there's more than one. There's a whole lot more than one, but there's the one proverbial listener that I wanted to talk to. Have them listen to us specifically. It's like, this one's for you, buddy. Like I'll drink one for you. And I want to tailor it to every single person. And I really hope that, by listening to us, they get a kick out of it. And we really do appreciate you. If you do want to show some support for us and you can't think about how, the easiest way is always, a simple tweet on Twitter and saying, hey, you should listen to these guys. They talk about this. They're a bunch of idiots. For some reason, they got a lying Count Dracula's talking about how great EA is. And
all you got to do is just hit that like and retweet.
Yep. Simple enough, right? So that's it, I think.
Yeah, so that's Tyler.
That's
I'm
me.
Nick. That's me. Thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week. And don't forget to never stop the grind.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Find more of our work by searching for Casual Master Quest on iTunes, Google Play, and other podcast players. Check out what we'll be doing next week on Twitter at MasterQuestPod.
That cannonball and before we record.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good that you can catch that.
So how you feeling?
I'm doing okay.
Remember, we're live, so don't admit any crimes in the past 7 years.
I mean, the only crime I'm guilty of is getting pulled over, my car towed, and then contesting the ticket, and the cop didn't show up, so I didn't have to pay anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually, got really nervous because a cop. Basically, what happened was there's a cop parked right next to one of my stores, and it's like 3:30 in the morning at this point. He's trying to catch drunk drivers, and I'm doing everything legal. I do my turn signal. I pull in, but I have to pop a Yui through the front parking lot.
Right.
Pull out through the driveway next to the building, pull out into the street, and then back down that driveway behind the building. And the one thing that I know the cops in that area like to get you for is if you don't stop before you go back into the street, regardless of if there's a stop sign, it's still considered illegal.
Right.
So what he ended up seeing me do is, I stopped, had my 4-ways on, and then I pulled out into the street just wildly. And I think he shot out to pull me over because he thought I was a drunk driver trying to pop a Yui or something like that.
Right.
And then he got behind me and I made him back up. because I had to curve back into the store.
Right.
And he realized what I was doing, and then
you were just working.
Yeah, he was like, "Move along." He's gone. Right. So I called it this YouTube video Casual Master Quest Jeff Gordon. Please understand. Do you understand the reference, or am I in the dark here?
You're in the dark. Okay. Or rightfully so. I'm in the dark. You're the one making. So I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm always in the dark because of.
You're metaphorically in the dark, Nick.
No,
I was always born in it, raised by it.
No, you'd still stick out. Like all I got to do is just take off my clothes, and I can make a break for it at any time of the day. Well, in the night, in any part.
I'm gonna say anytime after 7 p.m. on a December afternoon. Yeah, me though. I feel like the I'd have to be on.
Not racist because I said it.
Oh, okay. Have you heard of NASCAR? I know it's an American sport.
Yeah.
One of the most famous drivers. To me, the two biggest drivers in the heyday of NASCAR, and of course, the rednecks say NASCAR will rise again. It's still alive, and it's like, okay, whatever. Enjoy your Budweiser commercials. The two biggest drivers was Dale Earnhardt, number 3, and Jeff Gordon, number 24. So when I call this the Jeff Gordon episodes, because it's episode 24.
Ah, right. I don't know a Jeff Gordon, but I do know a Jim Gordon.
Oh, I don't know a Jim Gordon.
Jim Gordon, he's commonly known as an associate of a bat furry.
A bat furry?
Yeah, he likes to like.
I'm interested. I'm not against this idea.
Yeah, he's in cahoots with a bat furry who walks around at night and beats up people for no reason.
Oh,
tends to avoid killing. Yes, I'm talking about Batman. For fuck's sake.
Oh, I thought you were saying if I could have the dream of being able to fly and yiff, what's wrong with that?
Who says Batman doesn't do that? The dude's a bat, for fuck's sake.
Okay, fair enough. This gives me a more expanded universe into the DC Comics more than I ever considered it. I'm bat furry. Fuck, I mean Batman. It's okay. He has to say it 3 times before people stop, thinking he's joking and like, oh, you're into this. Okay.
You don't see it because the cape hides it, but he has a patch of like fuzz on the back of his armor to like simulate like an actual bat.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like when he captures the right kind of crooks that give him the right attitude, he pulls out the fuzzy handcuffs.
I mean, you never know. There's a lot in that utility belt of his.
I mean, with all that wire, you gotta know he's into bondage. Like, we gotta work something here. Batman's one kinky motherfucker. 10 things, you never wished you knew about Batman. Gotham hates him. Number 4 will bond you away.
I mean, no, think about it. We've got Batman, we've got Robin, we've got Catwoman.
Are you suggesting that there's a lot of furryism because there's animals association with the humans?
Let me be more specific. I think superheroes are furries in disguise. They just hide the fact that they're furries by fighting crime. Spider-Man, you got Ant-Man.
Beast Boy's a pretty... he's pretty much anything that has a DNA specimen to it. If you want to fuck a fish, he'll tell you what size.
We got Black Panther.
Oh, you're going to bring race into the freedom. Okay.
I'm allowed to because I'm not white.
Man, that is a hell of a card you got in your pocket. It's like getting a deck of cards and you just keep handing people free poker cards. It's like, I got this card. And it's like, it's a 3 of aces.
It's like getting out of deal cards don't make sense.
It's black, isn't it?
Cost thousands.
Okay, fair enough. Just because I'm Captain Bleach over here, apparently I'm not allowed to say half the stuff you say.
That's good.
That's my superhero name.
You're as white as Wonder Bread.
Oh, man, that's my cousin, actually. You leave him out of this. Oh, man, actually, I had an accident when I was a kid about 8. I fell into a tub of bleach and I came out darker.
This is darker?
That's the joke. I was so white that I fell into... Oh, God. Screw you. That was a good joke. That was a good joke.
I'll
fight you. Now I'm going to turn into Captain Sunburn because I'm going to get all red. Which is basically equivalent of me walking outside for about 2 minutes. Oh, man. Sometimes when my wife doesn't want to go into the bathroom to look at herself in the mirror, she just kind of looks into my back, just how shiny I am. Ooh.
I figured that would have been your head when you were bald a few weeks ago.
Ooh. Oh, man. You know, I grew my hair back in because the cop pulled me over and told me I was being a distraction to other drivers, right? Oh, man.
Looking like a second-rate Mr. Clean.
Like every time I passed by like a street light or something like that, people saw the red reflecting off my head and started pulling over. Oof. And they saw the green and they didn't know what the hell to do. Yep. Man, I'm in a good comedian mood today. Whew.
It was good.
Check at 2 times Tyler, guys. I'll be here all minute.
That's
what I tell my wife.
I was going to go there, but then you went there. Thank God.
Oh, yeah. Like when Amanda looks at me with those bedroom eyes, she'll be like, "Hey, Tyler, we got 15 minutes." Like, "Ooh, you want a 12-minute shower?" You laugh. But, when I commit to the joke, apparently she doesn't find it funny.
Sometimes. We've got 15 minutes. Okay, so $6.
What was that? Did you say $6?
6 times? Is
six
6 rounds?
Oof. I don't know if you're like Captain Stud meant for breeding or what over there, but I got like a refractory period of like 2 years.
We're only 3 years older in physically, but spiritually, I think you're like 100.
Like the only way I think that could be shortened is if I like smell bacon or something. It gets me kind of horny. Hey, there's some things I got to cut out of the show. Jeez, this is for the post show. Technically, thank God.
Good thing it's not live.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, hopefully I put it unlisted. That'd be awkward. So when I start seeing. Okay, anything you want to talk about before we start this?
No, I think we're okay. Okay.
Do you want to be the narrator, or would you prefer me to?
I would prefer you to. You're a better narrator than I am. I really like the way you narrate.
It means I gotta breathe. Ugh. So I'm gonna choke myself with vaping. Oh no. My battery's dying. I can only do that like one more time. Fat, rip, raw. Oh, you mute yourself because you're cool as shit over here.
No, I was clearing my throat, dude. I didn't want to. I was like yelling and screaming. So
when you vape, you just. Make the noise I make during the end of my 2-minute session. There's one time I actually got kicked off of the bed because I tried screaming like an angry ninja. I was like, and she's like, "Get off me!" I'm like, I'm sorry. I knew she was a pirate fan, but goddamn, ninjas for life, man. Okay. Ooh. We gotta actually start the show, don't we?
Yeah, at some point.
All right. For those who listen to this, thank you. And we'll see you next week.